Hello, everyone. You are listening to Those Other Girls with Mallory and Friends. I am Mallory, and we are changing culture. We, as in me, you, everyone listening, we are changing culture and bringing back traditional values. So today is another Solo Mal weekly Teacap. Hopefully, I know next week we'll be back to our regularly guest-studded programming. But today it is just me. Once again, this could be a 6 hours. It could be a hour episode. It could also be a 20-minute episode. Who knows? We'll see. We'll see how everything goes. I hope everyone had a great week. I hope that whenever you listen to this, that you are going to be fired up and ready. I actually just got back from our county's convention, our county's GOP convention, which I'll talk about in a second. But honestly, it got me really fired up for 2022 for these midterms. Please stay tuned. The next episode in our Gorgeous, Gorgeous Girls Vote, that episode will be out soon. Soon. And we're going to go over different terms. That's what our next episode is going to be about. And, anywho, I am just really excited about this. Our county convention was today, and, some things, everybody should get involved in their county party. What really got me excited was just thinking about all the people who are going to run. If you are listening and you're in the Mecklenburg County area, or if you are in an area that is kind of heavy Democrat. So, for example, Mecklenburg County, we have about 20% Republicans. So there's more unaffiliates than there are Republicans that vote in our county. And if you are in a county like that, sometimes it can be very discouraging if you yourself want to run, or if you are going and supporting candidates that are running. But what is always really encouraging is just hearing more and more people coming out, more and more people running for offices. One thing that Leanne, who is in charge, she is the recruitment chair for our county GOP. One thing that she always talks about is there are some seats in a district, if it's 70% Democrat, barring a miracle, if you're a Republican, you probably won't win that race. Anything is possible. We know that anything is possible with God, but barring a miracle, if it's 70% Republican, I don't care who you are. I'm sorry, 70% Democrat. I don't care who you are. You're probably going to lose that race if you're a Republican. That's just a fact of the matter. But you still want to have someone run for two reasons. Number one, it causes whoever you're making it harder. They're going to have to at least put some money toward their campaign, whoever the Democrat is that's running, especially if it's an incumbent. So you're taking that money that they could have donated from to another race that could be a little bit more close. You're taking that money that they would have donated, and they're going to have to use it on their race. So it's, you're helping on that front. And then the second thing is so you might lose by 70% this run. Next run, you might lose by 50%. And then the next run, you might, you could win. I don't know if it'll be that close that quickly, but those are the possibilities. That's why you have to still go out. You still have to try. And it was just really encouraging at our county convention to hear so many people are running a full slate for the Charlotte City Council, which I'm super excited about. If you go to our website, we're going to start doing, we're going to open up for people who are running for office to come on the podcast, tell us why they should be, you should vote for them, and then they'll be able to have that episode to share, so people not just in Charlotte or not just in the Greensboro area where Vic lives, that not just those people will be able to share with their friend or share with their campaign, but let's say, for example, someone running in Florida, they can come on the podcast. We're working right now on questions to ask, and just to get a really good episode for that person. They're going to come on the podcast. We're going to ask them these questions. So then when they're at events, when they meet people, even on their website, they can add this podcast episode that can better articulate how why they're running, the things that they find valuable, things like that. So we're going to be doing that soon. So check that out. That's going to be on our website. So if you're listening and you are a candidate and you're interested in that, please reach out. Our email, you can DM us, message us. Our email should be everywhere. And I check that email hourly, it feels like sometimes. So seriously, check that out. So that's just really something really excited that we're looking forward to for those other girls, and just forward to for these this election. I know that, and I say this all the time, and I'm saying this for our North Carolina other girls. We have a very, 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 very important Senate race coming up, and we just need as many people to be out to vote, because this is the midterms. Most people don't vote. Most people don't care. They only really care about the president, which is silly because there's so many other positions that are just as important, that actually affect you every single day. Elections have consequences, and we're seeing that. We're seeing that with what's going on in Russia, and I'm sure you're seeing that what's going on in the gas prices. And let's be honest, I'm sure you're seeing that what goes on in your city. I know here in Charlotte, where we have so many issues when it comes to like the homeless. We didn't have a tent city before. Last summer was the first time Charlotte's ever had a tent city, which, look, my friend from California is like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, no, that's one of the great things about Charlotte was that we have one of the, that was one of the attractions of Charlotte, that it really wasn't it had kind of almost a big city feel, but not really. But it still was safe. Your prices were reasonable, good, decent schools. There were just so many things that have just changed a lot over the last couple of years because of leadership, because of elections, because people sit out who the mayor is. People sit out for county commissioner. People sit out for these. And you know what? One thing that those other girls want to do is not necessarily is to remind you to not sit these out, but also to educate. I think part of the reason why people sit out is because they just don't really know. They don't know. Some people don't know that there's going to be an election in June in Charlotte specifically. Some people don't know that there's midterms even. Some people know if you're just not into politics like that, you might not know. So that's why this episode and our Gorgeous, Gorgeous Girls Votes episodes are going to be very important to share. Maybe not necessarily this episode, but just the episode. I mean, you should absolutely share. Stop what you're doing now. Share this with your friend immediately, please and thank you. And then once you're done sharing it with your friend, leave us a review. We would greatly appreciate it. We need some reviews on Apple Podcasts, so that helps push us up, and that helps get more girls to realize that they're not alone. We can expand our other girls community. But anyway, so that's why these things are so important, because some people just really do not know. And I want those other girls to be a resource. I want those other girls to be a place where your friend or you yourself, you don't know something, you can come and hopefully we'll have that explained. We'll be able to articulate in a easily digestible way how to get involved and how to make sure you are on top of everything, because like I said, elections do have consequences, and we see that in what's going on in Ukraine and these gas prices. So a lot of cool things coming up. I hope you guys listened to last Thursday's, if you're listening to this on the Saturday that it's coming out, the Thursday before this, we have the creator of Garnu, which is an organic tampon and menstrual cup company. We had her on, and I already got a couple of DMs. People like, oh, I love this. Oh, this is cool. Oh, I can't wait to get mine. So it's clearly very interesting. So I hope everybody checks that out on Tuesday, the Tuesday after this episode comes out. Super excited. We're going to have our episode about women's health. I think it's mega important that these episodes are shared. I think this month we are celebrating Women's Month. We're celebrating the beautiful, distinct difference of women. We are different, and that's great. That's fabulous. That's what is amazing. We're celebrating that. Our Tuesday's episode, I spoke with my friend Brooke, and we just talked about being a Christian woman. And one thing that I talked about, and I kind of want to bring up for 5 seconds before we get into like the real meat and potatoes for today's episode, we're going to be going over the State of the Union. Before we get into the meat and potatoes of that, one thing I want to say is one of the things, and I mentioned this, I'm pretty sure, one of the things that's so great about being a woman is our empathy. I think that is something, in our emotions. I think that because people are just living in I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to say it without necessarily like making up stuff or like speculating too much. But I think just because of the world we live in, because of certain people who have decided to take reign and control over certain institutions we have, people are really frowning upon emotions, and they're frowning upon it's looked as a weakness. But honestly, these are great things. These are things that make us great mothers, make us great friends, and can make us great leaders in different capacities. Obviously we don't believe that we do believe that men are leaders of the household and things like that. But, you could be a leader working in your group project. You're able to think about and you can bring a different perspective. You can bring something else that a guy just probably couldn't. I really, like, when I think about it more, I really do think a lot more things. Like, I understand there has to be one CEO, but I do think, like, I wonder, like, having a male and a female CEO, too many cooks in the kitchen. Too many cooks in the kitchen are never going to work. But I don't know. The more I'm like learning about like being a woman and our femininity and the differences between men and women, I'm just like, God truly did an amazing thing. We really should be complimenting each other. When we're talking in practicality, when we're talking about like real life issues, I do think it's important to have men and women together, working together as leaders of our things. Obviously something like this, those are the girls. Our target is women. The majority of our listeners are women, even though we do have men. Shout out to those other boys. But, obviously something like this, it just should be women run and led because it's for women, by women, to women, through women. I don't know. But so many other things. Running trucking company. I don't know, something like that. There could be a man and a woman. But that's just me rambling. I just wanted to say that, like, in this Women's Month, I think that's just something we should be thinking about, just about, like, how different we are from men and how beautiful it is. I really want us to start flipping the narrative and being okay. I want us to bring back, like, Pink, as you guys, if this was your first time watching Those Are the Girls, and you've never met me in person, my name is Mallory, and I love the color pink. In case you couldn't tell by everything that I have and do, pink is my favorite color. And I think we should bring back that being okay. I feel like, especially like growing up, as I got older, not necessarily when I was like little, but I just remember thinking like, wow, nobody likes pink. Like, I'm really the girliest person here, and no one else is really like close to how girly I am. Not saying that girliness equates femininity or that it's so important, but I just feel like, even from talking with some people, I truly feel like people feel like they can't be girly. I feel like people feel like they can't like pink. They can't be feminine because they have to be like a man, but that's not the case. And men and women are different. I'm sorry, that's just the truth. And we just have to embrace it. We have to be okay with it. We have to be okay with it. So that's just a side note about Women's Month. Really, all that I wanted to talk about today is the State of the Union. The State of the Union address. I wish I had got this out earlier. It was on Tuesday. Because I watched it with some of my friends. Shout out to Charlotte. Charlotte invited me to watch it with her and some of her other friends, Justine and Annie. Shout out to you guys. And I met Chris, I believe, the first time that night. And I want to say these people, everyone's name, right? Because that's the right thing to do. And Andrew, wow, why did I forget that? I met Chris and Andrew for the first time, but I know Charlotte, Justine, and Annie, my girls. So shout out to y'all. Anyway, we watched the State of the Union together, and Justine had like made a fun little drinking game with it. You guys can go to her Instagram if you want to just see what it was. But anyway, so the State of the Union was Tuesday, and I just really wanted to talk about it. Every other conservative pundit, conservative podcaster, I'm sure, has an episode 3-4 hours long about the State of the Union, which is great. That's fine, and I highly recommend listening. The 3 people I would recommend and that I enjoy listening to: Ben Shapiro's take. I like Ben Shapiro, especially when I want to get like news, and I like his podcast in the sense of like something like this. Like, I really wanted to hear his opinion, wanted to get his take on State of the Union. Ali Stuckey, she did like a shortish episode on it, and Megyn Kelly. Those are 3 people who I would recommend listening to. There are other people. I want to say, God, what is that group? It's a guy and a girl, and the guy is conservative and the girl is like liberal. Breaking Point. I haven't listened to theirs, but I know they did an episode. Breaking Point. I also recommend them. They, for the most part, I like a lot of the things that they put out, and I like that one's conservative and one's liberal, and they just talk about stuff. I like that. Okay, so why are you talking about it then? And you're talking about it so late, blah, blah, blah. I think it's because the reality is there are some people who listen to this that aren't going to listen to those people, and they kind of just want like a quick, concise, like, what happened, what should I care about, blah, blah, blah. And I think I can provide that. Because one of the things that I just want to remind everybody, those are the girls, we have 2 purposes. We are for other girls. There are other girls out there who do not know that they are not the only ones that think like we do. They're not the only ones that are anti-abortion. They're not the only ones who are pro-Second Amendment and would like to get their license and want to feel safe, and they want to protect themselves. They don't know that they have some of these same ideas, and that's what I want them to know, that they're not alone. And I want them to join the Facebook group and to follow us on Instagram and like meet people, and like just so you know you're not alone. And it's hard and sometimes it feels that way. The second reason is to provide this alternative. There is not another Christian conservative podcast like our podcast. There is not a podcast that's even in the main society podcast realm that is like our podcast. I just want to give the perspective that we are able to offer. So, that's why I wanted to do this episode. Okay, so, also too, I'm about to learn you a thing or two. On the website, whitehouse.gov, you can see the full speech, the State of the Union address. Also too is on YouTube, and I will link both of these, so if you'd like to check it out, take a look at it, I will link it all for you. So I'm just going to go over some things that he said. The first part started off with Ukraine. He spent a lot of time talking about Ukraine. We're going to have that episode out. Hopefully, James recorded it on his stuff. He'll get it to me ASAP, and I can get that out to you guys a little bit quicker, sooner. I mean, it seems like this might drag on a little bit. So I'm sure a lot of people still have questions because it's been going on for some time now, and I thought it would just be like a quick, they're going to do their thing, oh man, they're going to be mad, and then some people are going to come together and talk, but it seems like it's been going a lot longer, so I think it'll just be good to have this perspective and to hear people talk about it. Okay, so he talks about that, talks about Ukraine. The Ukrainian ambassador to the United States was sitting with the First Lady, and President Biden asked everybody to clap. He talked about NATO. He talked about Ukraine. I don't necessarily want to get too much into Ukraine, to be honest, because I really don't feel confident enough. I learned about it in the sense. I learned about it from James, but I still don't feel confident enough to discuss it. I think that's okay. I think I had a friend text me, ask me a question about something Bible related even, and he asked me a question, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't really know the answer to that. I don't really know the answer to that. I'm not sure how to respond to that, so I'm not going to respond. And I think that's okay. I think that's something that it's a lost art. I think it's a lost art of, you know what, I don't know, so I'm not going to say anything. So yeah, so I'm going to skip over the Ukraine stuff. I think that is something that everybody should take a check and look at. I think that's something that once I have that episode out, I will let everybody know to look at it. Okay. So, after he talked about Ukraine, he talked about the Economic Progress Report. According to him, according to Joe Biden, the GDP growth was 5.7%. 6.6 million jobs were created. It was the fastest growing GDP in nearly 40 years. And 375,000 manufacturing jobs were created. Here's the thing. These are beautiful numbers. They are. You know, I didn't sit down and fact check him. I'm sure there are people that did, but I didn't do that. I will say this. And I'll read off some Stand for America statistics in a second. But I will say this. Taking people's jobs, like shutting businesses down, not allowing them to operate, and then opening them back up, that's not job creation. That's not. Now a lot of the max mandates are being lifted. People are going back to work finally. I think people are stopping vaccine mandates as well. That's not, realistically, that's not opening new jobs. But yeah, so Stand for America, they put out some things about. They put out some things like some truth about what's going on in the economy. And let me read it for you. This is the highest inflation since 1982. This is very true. I don't know if you guys have noticed, and I'll put aside gas, but things simple things. You can even feel it at restaurants. You can feel it going to get avocados. Avocados are like almost $3 now. I remember when they were 99 cents. Avocados are almost $3. This is huge inflation. And I think this is just an example. And this is something I'll make the statement and then I'll caveat it. For example, if you guys remember, we all got those stimulus checks. Well, I didn't get all of them because of drama. But we got stimulus checks. Now we're having inflation. I mean, no money's ever really free. I will say, I think that stimulus checks were a good thing if you're not working. If they're going to shut us down and we're not working, like, what are we supposed to do? I think that when we pay, I'm not for taxes. Taxation is theft, but we are paying taxes. Whether we want to or not, we're paying taxes. So our taxes should go to things like that to help us to safeguard if we are in a situation, especially those first 2 weeks. Those first 2 weeks, I don't care who you are. You didn't know what was going on. I don't care how you feel now. I don't care but if you're honest with yourself, those first 2 weeks, people were dying left and right. They shut us down. We had no idea. So I think that that was absolutely necessary. But look at what it is. Rents are up 40% in some cities. Let me tell you, I'm looking for apartments now, like reasonable, affordable apartments. The prices are ridiculous. What's so crazy is rent has gone up, but wages have not gone up. I mean, to me, that's so like, how are we supposed to pay? I can't even. Okay, let's see. Million, billion, trillion, 30 quadrillion. We're $30 quadrillion in national debt. And I'm sorry, I'm going to say something very controversial. We're never paying that back. Like, that's impossible. I hate to say it, there's no way we're going to pay that back. But I feel like debt, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. There's no way we're going to pay that back. 1.7% year-over-year decline in wages. Inflation will cost the average family $3,000 to $5,000. And I think that was the thing. So right now, and as I can look at our demographics, our main listening block is 23 to 27. So everyone listening, you guys are probably in the same boat as myself. And maybe some people younger and older are in the same boat. We're trying to get apartments. We're trying to get our credit together. We're trying to, be able to go out and enjoy life. So the economy is something that we're this is the first time I bought a car. So I'm learning and I'm seeing things, car insurance, anyway, that's a whole nother thing. But this is the first time I've ever really had to be mindful, because when I was in school, I had to be mindful, but I always had backups because of other things, external things that were going on in my life. But now it's I have to be so much more mindful. And I know that everyone else, lots of other people listening too, you have to be mindful. So the economy matters a lot. We want to be able to, the reality is I want to be able to enjoy my life. So I want to maybe go out on Friday nights or Saturday night with my friends. And, I'm not one of those people who spend $70 a night doing X, Y, and Z. But I'd like, getting a nice dinner. Maybe going to see a play. I don't know, something like that. I'd like to be able to do that. Enjoy my life. Go to work. And just live. To eat healthy. We're going to have someone on who's going to talk about healthy things. I'm going to try to bring that up. What are some good ways to cut down on the cost on eating healthy? Like I said, avocados are almost $3. That's crazy. And the perfect example, avocados are almost $3. You can get a full filling meal at Cookout for $5. An avocado, that's just the reality of where we are. The gym memberships have gone up. I have Crunch Fitness, which is actually very reasonably priced. Crunch Fitness. I don't have a code, but they should definitely sponsor me, because especially but anyway, there are some in Planet Fitness, even though they're kind of sketch in my opinion, but I could be wrong. But honestly, if you want to do other gyms, like my boxing gym, all that stuff is just so expensive and it's hard. So that's why when he was talking about the things with the economy, I'm like, I'm not seeing this. I don't see this. He's saying, GDP growth 5.7%. Why aren't we the middle class, why aren't we feeling this? Why aren't we feeling this? Recent grads, post grads, people who are coming to the workforce, why aren't we feeling these things? He made this statement. For the past 40 years, we were told that tax breaks for those at the top and benefits would trickle down and everyone would benefit. But the trickle-down theory led to weaker economic growth, lower wages, bigger deficits, and a widening gap between the top and everyone in nearly a century. Look, Vice President Harris and I ran for office, and I realize we have fundamental disagreements on this, but I ran for office with a new economic vision for America. And this is what he's saying. Invest in America, educate America, grow the workforce, build the economy from the bottom up and middle out, not from the top down. Because we know when the middle class grows, the poor go up and the wealthy do very well. So I guess my question is, these to me are just empty words because we're not seeing it. We're not seeing it. We're not feeling it. I'm middle class. I'm not growing. We're not feeling this. And I think that these are just empty. He was just talking. And that the economic part really frustrated me. Let me see what other things that he said. Talks about the infrastructure, said we ranked 13th in the world. I guess. I don't know anything about that. 13th in the world. I mean, that's good. He said, I've told the president of China, I've never been a good bet, but a bet. Wait, this sentence doesn't even make sense. It's never been a good bet to bet against the American people. That's what he told the president of China. Okay. He's saying we'll create good jobs for millions of Americans, modernizing roads, airports, ports, waterways, and all across America. And we'll do it to withstand the devastating effects of climate crisis and promote environmental justice. What? Oh, after this reminds me I need to mention something. Tonight I'm announcing this year we'll be start fixing. He's gonna fix the highways. Let's see. He talks about the highways. Americans make sure. Aircraft. He says we need to invest 2% of our GDP in research and development. We don't now. We can't. China is. Let's see here. Sorry, y'all. The pandemic disrupted the global supply chain. Factories closed. When that happens, it takes longer to make goods and they get them to warehouses and stores and the prices go up. Look at the cars last year. 1/3 of inflation is because of automobile sales. There weren't enough semiconductors. Yes. Let me see. What else did he say? He said, instead of relying on foreign supply chains, let's make it in America. Economists call it increasing the productive capacity of our economy. I call it building a better America. Okay, so I wanted to talk about this part for a hot second. 2 things to take away from this part. Number 1, building things in America, doing things in America. This is why the Keystone Pipeline, I'll insert it here, the comment I was going to say, the Keystone Pipeline should have been in America. We're seeing these raises in this increase in gas because we're relying on foreign oil, on Russian oil. I might have Chris on if you guys remember he talked. I might have Chris on to talk a little bit more about that because, to be honest, I was reading that and I'm like, okay, that's fascinating because weren't we in Afghanistan and Iraq to get oil? I'm sorry, we weren't in Afghanistan. Weren't we over there to get oil from them? So we also get it from Russia. I don't understand why we don't get oil from here. If we have oil here, we need to be using our own oil because it's getting ridiculous. I'm sorry. It's absolutely ridiculous. These prices are... Anyway. That was the first thing I wanted to say about this. And the second thing is he talked a lot throughout this speech, a lot about building back America, America first. We're pro-America. At one point they were shouting USA, USA, which is crazy to me because the narrative for so long was America sucks. We're terrible in America. How are we going to do this in America? Boo, America. Boo, 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 America. And it's just like, what? Like, I remember, I was like, wait, this sounds very pro-America. What? It seems, and I heard someone say this, it seemed like he was taking tips from Trump's speech. So, he also talks about child care. I'll read to you what he said. The third thing we can do to change the standard of living for hardworking folks is cut the cost of child care. Folks, if you live in a major city, you can pay up to $14,000 a year for child care per child. That is crazy. $14,000? You might as well just take care of the kids yourself. He goes, I was a single dad for 5 years, raising 2 kids. I had a lot of help, though. I had a mom, a dad, a brother, and a sister that really helped. But middle class and working folks shouldn't have to pay more than 7% of their income to care for young children. My plan would cut the cost of child care in half for most families and help parents, including millions of women who left the workforce during the pandemic because they couldn't afford child care to be able to get back to work, generating economic growth. Okay, so a couple things. I would like to see how this would be implemented. So they are still, let's say they're paying $7,000 a year. Okay, that, I guess that seems more reasonable. I don't have $7,000 a year for that. I'm also not married. I don't have any kids, but let's say $7,000 a year. So then the parents are going back to work, but they're still paying to go into childcare. To me, it just sounds more feasible if, unless, if you're a single parent, then definitely not. But like if you're a two-parent household, it just sounds more feasible to more cost productive in general. Because also too, you need to be able to pay the people who are working the childcare. That's not fair to them. So they're going to get half their, or they're no longer going to get half of what they're paid because they're already not getting paid a lot. I just would like to see how this would be implemented. I would like to see how this would, how they actually would apply this to real life and see. That just doesn't, it doesn't sound right. It seems like there's a lot of things missing in this utopia. I think that is the biggest lesson or the biggest word for his speech. Is it sounded like a utopia. One of my friends posted something and I was like, yeah, I wish I lived in that America Joe Biden lives in, because that's certainly not this America, not right now. So this other thing I thought was really strange, did not even know this was a thing. He talked about pandemic fraud. So he goes, my predecessor undermined the watchdogs whose job was to keep pandemic relief funds from being wasted. In my administration, the watchdogs are back. We're going after criminals who stole billions in relief money meant for small businesses and millions of Americans. You know what? I agree. I'm not mad at that. If that money was supposed to go, if you took money that should have gone to a small business, and helped other people, yeah, let's investigate that. I'll give them that. I'm sure somebody can debate why that's not necessary, but if that's the thing that happened, I cannot stand stuff like that. I don't want to be like I'm a super stickler, a rule follower, blah blah blah, but especially people's money, don't mess with people's money. If that money was supposed to go to somebody, can't stand that. So you know what? Good idea. Why not? Not a bad idea. We're going after the criminals who still be like, oh, I know what I was going to say about that. So that kind of reminds me of some of these influencers. I don't know if you knew this, but a lot of influencers took PPP loans. Now, a lot of people, like, if it truly is your job, if you are, if you have the correct paperwork or things like that, I see no shade in that. Like, do it. This is your money, you deserve it. But, there's a lot of people who did some sketch things to qualify. You guys know that Brittany Dawn person we talked about a couple weeks ago? I heard, through Reddit, so I guess not really hearing, through the Reddit thread, they were talking about how she took money and her business technically was not operating when she took the money. So things like that, that's what they're going to be cracking down on. I think that's good. I think those people should have to pay that money back. They might not be able to, but I think don't mess with people's money, especially people with small business. Because I do have a small business, I have a heart for that. Like, that's very important to me, because also too, this could be some people's way of getting out of situations that they're in. We're America. You're supposed to be able to work hard to move out of whatever tax bracket you're in, and that could be the way, and you took that opportunity from them. So prosecute them. A broken clock is right twice. Let's 2 times a day. So let's see if he's going to be right again. He said he wants to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour and extend the child tax credit. We have discussed before about raising the minimum wage to $15. That will cause an inflation. That will make it, we're experiencing inflation now. You raise the minimum wage, and the thing about minimum wage is it's not supposed, these minimum wage jobs, the one everybody likes to use is McDonald's. I'm going to use Walmart. Walmart is not supposed to be a job for a working mom of 4. That's not supposed to be her job. It's supposed to be a career. She's supposed to have a career. So I think that if we could start, what will be better for that mom is for us to have some sort of career placement programming for her to be able to go, I'm going to always say back to the church, for her to be able to go, if her church has some sort of like career center type thing. I know some churches do that. Go there and find more of a career. That minimum wage job is supposed to be for Sally Sue, who is trying to get tickets to the Justin Bieber concert. So she's working at home. She's working like in the afternoon at Walmart. Like that's what a minimum wage is supposed to be. It was never meant to be for helping those families. So I think it's a good solution to things like that would be to have more programs, have more job placement, also too like teaching people different skills that have higher pay. Because Sally Sue, if you are raising 4 kids by yourself, okay, Sally Sue should not be working at she probably does need $15 an hour. She probably needs more than that. So, but she should not have to go to Walmart. She should be able to try to find a career. Okay, that was one. COVID-19. He says, tonight I say that we will never just accept living with COVID. We will continue to combat the virus as we do other diseases. COVID is here to stay. COVID is the new flu. I'm sorry, that's just how it is. What I think we should be doing is trying to see how to get people treatment so that there could be less deaths. But COVID is here. We can discuss how it got here, but it's here. And what we should be working on is prevention of death, being healthy, taking your vitamins, like promoting those type of things, because there's nothing we can do about it at this point. It kind of reminds me, this is terrible and kind of crazy comparison, but if you guys saw the Planet of the Apes, the latest movies, it kind of reminds me of like how that allergen came. Not allergen, I guess it was a virus, how it made people, because it's here. It's here and it's here to stay. Okay. Let me see. We talked about free COVID tests. I don't really have a big opinion on that. Crime prevention. Oh, this part, you guys. Listen to what Joe Byron says. Everybody ready? I know what works. Investing in crime prevention and community police officers community police officers who will walk the beat, know the neighborhood, and restore trust and safety. We have to fund the police. I'll read that again. Joe Byron said, we have to fund the police with resources and training they need to protect our communities. Now, I don't know if any of you remember, months ago, they were anti-police, defund the police, boo, police, and now they're talking about funding the police. That was just so strange to me. I remember thinking, wait, what? He's talking about funding the police? The broken clock was right twice. I'm pro that as well. Yeah, let's get them the training that they need. I really think, my friend made this amazing point. She said that, part of the problem is people are not policing in their own neighborhoods. And I think I didn't know that. And I think that's important. I think that you know your neighborhood better, you know your area, your community better. I'll just use going from the south to up north. I had to get used to some of the things because a huge part of policing in general, and I don't mean like these murders, I just mean like everyday regular policing. A huge part of policing is just understanding and picking up on body cues, and it's just understanding your community. Coming from the South and living up in New Jersey, I had to understand that some people were sounding really mean and mad at me, but really that's just how they talk. Like, I had to understand that just isn't, that's just how they talk. Like, they're not mad at me, there's nothing really there, they're just talking that way. I had to learn that. And you're not going to, and so you can't take, because we're all human. You can't just take these type of ideas and personalities and just put them just anywhere and everywhere. That's just not how that's not good. That's not how it works. So I think training is very important. Very important. Joe Rogan had someone on that talked about, they said that like, they think that a lot of police officers should be trained, not in jujitsu. Well, I think he said train up jujitsu, which I think would be fantastic. I think that'd be great, personally, because I think if you can avoid using your gun, that's always best. But things like that. Like, I've seen some police officers, and I'm not that great. I've done a little bit of boxing, but I feel like I could take them if I needed to. Obviously, a gun is a great equalizer, so, if they wanted to shoot me, they could. But, I mean, just more training, I think, is great. And I think it's fantastic and weird that he said that, but that's what Joe Byron said during the State of the Union. Okay. I think the last thing I'll talk about, no, it's not. It's not the last thing I'll talk about. Wow, I've been going for 45 minutes. Sorry about that, y'all. Another thing I'll talk about is, he mentioned Roe v. Wade, which is going to be interesting because in June we're going to find out. We're going to find out if Roe will be overturned. Here we go. He says, the constitutional right affirmed in Roe v. Wade, there is no constitutional right, standing precedent for half a century, is under attack as never before. Yes, it is. We want to go forward, not backwards. We must protect access to health care, preserve a woman's right to choose. As everyone knows, we are anti-abortion on this podcast. And a couple of things I just want to say about this comment. The fact that it's considered healthcare is disgusting. Murdering someone is not healthcare. And preserving a woman's right to choose. Yeah, she has plenty of options. We just don't think that murder should be an option. I think someone worded it that way once, and I was like, bingo, that's that. She has the right to choose if she wants to keep the baby, if she wants to have the baby adopted, she wants to have a closed adoption, open adoption. If she wants to have her mother help her, if she wants the father, plenty of options. We just don't want murdering your child to be an option. And I just want to add, I think, once again, instead of our time and energy going to, we must protect, let's go ahead and eliminate the baby, we should be seeing, okay, this particular person, I believe the number is 75% of women, they would choose life if they felt they had better circumstances. So what are those circumstances? You know what? I already have 4 kids and my husband is leaving me and I can't do it. I don't have a lot of money. I've never had to work before. My husband's leaving me. I've never had to work before. I can't raise this baby on my own. Oh, okay. Let's see how we can help. Ma'am, it's this church. There's people in your community that can, okay, you're having this issue. Let's see how we can help. There's just so many ways. And this is why I really want to go back to when we work together. This is why I think it's so important. This is why I think we have such issues. And I know I experienced this with like loneliness and things like that, because we are meant to be relational people. We're supposed to be in a community working together, but we've just separated ourselves so much. We have gotten so far. I just take care of me. I'm going to focus on me. And that's how we've gotten to this place. So that's what I want to say on that. I'm glad he feels it's being attacked, because it is being attacked. And we'll see where it is in June. And we'll definitely do some episodes and more discussion on that. The Equality Act, we talked about that. We have an episode on that. Actually, it's been a year since that episode came out. I saw it on my Facebook today. The Equality Act. Let me see the part that I wanted to read. I just want to say the Equality Act is not really equal. It is just one of the ways that they are trying to, we said this in the episode, and I want everyone to listen to it. I'll try to remember to link it. They are constantly trying to use words, say things are very flowery, things that'll get us upset and ready to do stuff. Because Equality Act, why would my Republican senator not vote for Equality Act? Oh, Republicans hate women. That's not at all what it is. And we'll have an episode of that. I need to wrap it up. We don't want to get on that. One thing he did say, he said, As I said last year, especially to our younger transgender Americans, I'll always have your back as your president so you can be yourself and reach your God-given potential. I just found that very interesting, especially with what you guys saw, what happened in Texas. We talked about that. We discussed that. It is not this mean, evil, cruel thing that they're going to be pulling children out. Their kids are going to be kicking and screaming. It's not like that at all. Check out the episode to discuss that more. I'm trying to think of anything else he said. Let's see here. Because I do want to stand for America. I did something that I just want to talk a little bit about those two. He's, I guess that's it for right now. It says it's time to hold social media platforms accountable. Yeah, we should, but how and for what? I'm very interested to know what he meant for that. He said, let's get all Americans the mental health services they need where people can turn to help in full parity between physical and mental health if we treat it the way with our insurance. I guess that had to do with, that's in the social media section. So, hey, 3 times. I guess that's right. I'm just very curious of how he's going to implement it. The thing about this, and I mean, I guess this wasn't the time to lay out your full-blown plan. We could all find it and see it for ourselves if we really needed to. My concern with a lot of this stuff is just talking. It's just a lot of talking. We're not seeing it implemented. We're not really seeing it actually in everyday life. And that's what I hate. I hate that. And to close it out, he says, State of the Union is strong because of you, the American people are strong. We are stronger today than we were a year ago, and we will be stronger a year from now than we are today. I don't know about that, but I don't know if we're stronger than we were a year ago. But I do know this. I know that we can be stronger next year. We can continue to get stronger. We know where we are now. I think we can move forward. We see what's going on. Let's see how we can work harder. And we know that at the end of the day, God is in control. So even when things seem abysmal, even when things seem so hard, when it just feels like we're not really living in America anymore, we can trust in the fact that God is sovereign. And we can trust in his sovereign hand. Okay, really quick. Stand for America put this out. This is what they said for under our children. They said school closures have left students 5 months behind. Biden's education secretary solicited the NSBA letter requesting that the administration investigate parents opposed to school masking and CRT as domestic terrorists. That's crazy. Biden shifted the goalposts to reopening schools within 100 days, and Biden still wants to mask our kids despite evidence of it. Let's see, what else? Okay, I guess that's all that I wanted to talk about from that graphic. But check out Stand for America. They put out some stuff on that. And I guess I just really want to wrap this up by saying that it does feel like times are hard, but 2 things. Like I said, God is in control. God is sovereign. I think that sometimes it's hard to remember that because, especially those of us who are really into politics, because we're just thinking that, because we just really want to, because why is it hard to believe that sometimes? Because we just want things to be the way we want it to be. So it's just hard to remember that God is sovereign and his sovereign hand is in control of everything. So even our leaders that are elected, this is something I always do for myself, leaders that are elected that we don't like, God put them there. We can, and I know it's hard, I know it's controversial, and I know I've said this before on my Facebook, people got mad at me. Joe Biden is in office because God put him there. Every person that has ever been elected is in office because God put them there. And I know that's a hard concept that's kind of hard to think about, but that's just the truth. And all we really have is to lean on God and realize that it is his sovereign hand. Now, that does not mean we sit back and do nothing, because God has given us dominion over this land. So we should do what we can and leave the rest to him. What does that mean? That means it's 2022. That means you have primaries coming up. That means you have your midterm elections That means that you can have some municipal elections. That means that your city council could come. I don't know how it is for everybody's county, and but go to your state, type in your state voter registration, and go to that website and see what elections you have coming up, because we need you. This is important. This is very important. If you are not participating in this, and I don't mean you don't have to go to everything, but if you're not participating in this, it's kind of hard to take you seriously, in the sense of like, you truly care about what's going on. And it's kind of, I'll just leave it at that. If you truly care what's going on, you're going to want to do something. You're going to do something. Once again, I'm not saying you have to go to everything, participate in everything, but, you're going to do something. You're not just going to sit back. And anyone and everyone can do something. You don't have to, I'm the youngest person there. There's tons, if you're listening and you're like older, you absolutely can do something, because I'm always the youngest person at everything I go to, which also means everybody listening that's in my age bracket, like, they need us. They really do. They need us. We need to make our voices known. Pro-lifers, I know that politics can be gross and annoying. In your GOP, you need to be there. There are people coming out of the woodwork who are not pro-life, that are trying to say that they're Republican, and you need to make sure that your state, your county stays pro-life as Republicans, because that is what we are. Our party is pro-life, and we cannot let people, I don't know, that's so harsh. Like, people are not going to want to vote for that. We can't, no. I don't think we should have that included no, we can't. That's not who we are. There needs to be someone pro-life at your GOP meetings, that is going to say something and speak up when things start going wavering, because they are. They're going to start wavering. So yeah, you guys, I just encourage everyone. I really want to encourage you guys to get involved, to do something. Don't sit at home all the time. Enjoy your life, but do something. Last but not least, if you enjoyed this episode, please share it. I think this is a good episode to share. I talked for pretty much an hour. Just me and a solo Mal, just for an hour. We talked about the State of the Union. We talked about getting involved. Share it. Seriously, I think this is another great episode to share, even with your liberal Lizzie friends. I think it'll be good for them to hear alternatives. I think it's also good for them to hear this idea that they might not hear. If you enjoyed it, please rate, review, subscribe, follow. We are wherever you listen to podcasts. We're also on YouTube and Rumble. And we're really working on growing the YouTube channel, because Gorgeous Girls will mainly be on YouTube. So if you have not already, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Watch on there a little bit. Yeah. We have really cute merch. Our anti-abortion sweatshirts are about to be, so we're about to put those away, because it's about to be not winter. And then we have hot pink. Yes, that's right. Hot pink anti-abortion social club t-shirt. We are taking the color pink back. We are no longer allowing them to, the pro-aborts to have the color pink. We are taking it back. If you live in the Charlotte and surrounding area, we're teaming up with Pro-Life Future Charlotte on March 21st to have a meeting, Pro-Life Future meeting. We'll have the director of the U City Women's Center speak to us, and we're going to be bringing diapers. The goal is to fill up her car so that she doesn't even have room, because we have brought so many diapers for her. Also, too, if you live in the Charlotte and surrounding area, on March 26th, we have adopted that week for Love Life. We're going to be going to Love Life as a group, and then afterwards we're going to be getting dinner or something like that. Something along those lines, just to beginning dinner, just debrief about the week and what we saw at Love Life. Highly recommend you go to Love Life. And if you don't live in the Charlotte area, there's Love Life all over the country. maybe make that the week you and some friends gather to go to Love Life. Reach out to me if you have questions about that. Love to discuss it more with you. Try to think of anything else to add. Just, you guys, if you can, seriously, if you listen to Apple, please, please, please leave a review. It really helps. We really want this podcast to go out so that other girls know that they're not alone. So that other girls can find other girls. Oh, sorry. And also, too, because when we move up higher, I want girls who are not hearing this. That's the thing. People don't hear these alternative ideas. They don't hear these alternative messages. And our goal is to get them out there so that they can and so that they will. Be excited. We have some more really good episodes coming out for Women's Month. Yeah. I hope you guys have a good rest of the day, night, evening, whatever it is you're listening to. Bye.